Alright, hi, my name is Jamie Liu, and today we're gonna be having a debate on whether technology makes us lonelier or not. So before I start the debate, I'd like to introduce the speakers. So I'm Jaden from UCC. There's Christina's not here yet, from St. Clemens, and finally, my second speaker is Edwin from UTS. So the definition of whether technology makes us So we define the resolution whether technology makes us lonelier or not. Technology we define as any device that is connected to the internet. So you can say social media, apps, your smartphone, your computer, your TV, your Xbox, anything like that. And we define lonely as both emotionally lonely and physically lonely. So for my speech, I will be presenting 2 points. Of course, I already gave my model, and then I will be giving you a quick conclusion. So my first point is that technology makes us more lonely because it connects us more. For example, social media. If you're looking at Instagram, WeChat, and Twitter, the premise that it always gives us more opportunity to talk to each other and talk to them 24/7 actually isolates us physically from each other, because we no longer need interaction to talk to people face to face. For example, this actually makes perfect sense. Why do you need to go out and hang out with your friends when you can just FaceTime them on Skype? Why do you need to, talk to someone and have an interactive and good conversation when all you have to do is text them? And so this is why technology isolates us. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because we're having such good forms of communication, we can talk to more people, which connects us with more people, and we can connect with more people in this sense. However, we have to also ask the question, is it really worth it? We are literally pushing ourselves and isolating ourselves from other people because of this communication thing. So we have to ask ourselves, yes, it is socializing, but is it really the same thing? Are you having the same experience as you are when you're talking to someone face to face, relating to them on a personal level, than you are when you're just messaging them on WeChat, or just going on your phone, or talking to them on FaceTime? Now to my second point. My second point is that technology takes all our attention span. For example, people at the back, because you're on your phones, you're missing out on this amazing speech written by me. So that's one of the examples. Our phones is literally a vortex that sucks our attention span away. And like my first point, it also makes perfect sense. Our phones provide so many more things for us to do. When I'm on my phone, I can go on YouTube, I can play chess, I can read, I can watch the news. What's the point of even having or even interacting in real life? However, the consequences of this is that in the future, when you're no longer fully dependent, or when you no longer use your phone as much, when you're in a working space and you have to actually interact or talk to people in real life, then you would really struggle and be unable to socialize, as like I'm talking to you right now. So in conclusion, technology isolates us because, first of all, it takes our attention span away. And a fun fact is that your attention span has actually reduced from 2000 to right now. In 2000, your attention span was 12 seconds, and right now your attention span is 8.5, which is 8.25, which is 0.75 seconds shorter than a goldfish. So your attention span is literally worse than a goldfish that you have in your that you're owning. So, in conclusion, technology isolates us because it takes our attention span away, and because we no longer use normal forms of interaction and communication. Thing.
As side opposition, we strongly believe that technology does not make us more lonely. Side government has stated that technology makes us have a less attention span, but why does that matter? The sole purpose of us human beings is to have a purpose, is to have a goal. And if we don't have that attention span, sure, we're not going to do well. But if you have an attention span of 40 years and have a bad purpose, how is that going to impact our society in a beneficial way? Ladies and gentlemen, on side government, they stated that technology makes us have less attention spans. But on side opposition, we strongly disagree. Because on our side of the house, although technology has its benefits and negative aspects, the benefits definitely outweigh the negatives. And it makes us actually more connected. It makes us to be less lonely overall. In my speech, I'll be talking about the usage of technology and its consequences, specifically towards the users, and how that impacts our society as a whole. So I'll be talking about my 2 points about how this impacts our laws and politics, and how this will impact our society as a whole when we're connecting with other people with different cultures. So first on to my first point about how this would create a better political system, is that technology, nowadays we have surveillance technology. We're able to document the crime that's happening, the cyberbullying that's happening. We have solid proof that something is happening. And we can use this in court to justify our actions and justify our sentences, to ultimately define the truth. And you seem to disagree. Why is that?
Don't you agree that technology is the cause of cyberbullying?
Yes, I agree that is a cause of cyberbullying, but without technology we still have bullying. But with cyberbullying, it's just another aspect of bullying, and it allows us to bring this to attention, to allow us to have more awareness around these topics. And so, expanding on my point, with these crimes we're able to define it, and from there it doesn't stop. The media will be involved, more people will be able to bring this into attention, and the event is brought to attention, the truth is brought to attention, and the victim is able to be heard. And when the victim is heard, they feel less lonely. When the victim says their experience, other victims are able to relate to them, and they are able to form a more connected society, a less lonely society with their citizens, and for a good cause. And for the instance, what if the court doesn't actually bring the truth? What if the court doesn't say the real truth that we're supposed to say with the surveillance proof? Either way, there will always be awareness brought, because the media will bring this back to attention and say, this is not fair. These people in position of power shouldn't be in positions of power when they're abusing it. They bring the court back to action and back to truth. And so we can see this with the hashtag #ThisIsNotConsent tweets. An Irish rape victim killed herself after the court used a clause against her. And so this media was able to stand up and say, we have to stand up for the truth. We have to have these victims' voices heard. And by having victims' voices heard, we're able to have a more progressive society and to make us feel less lonely. And now on to my second point about how this brings us to connect with other people better. And so technology allows us to connect with other people from across the world that we wouldn't be able to connect. And we all know that stereotypes exist, right? And so when we have technology, when we're connecting with people across the world, we're able to know their culture more. We're able to be a better, well-rounded, and to know more about these topics, and to ultimately be less ignorant. And so when more people know about, when people know that people know their culture, when people know that their voices are heard, we're less likely to be lonely. And when we connect on a story base where we talk about politics, or we talk about our voices, people are ultimately going to connect with each other about these topics and be more educated and knowledgeable on things that aren't brought to attention yet. And so we see technology makes us less lonely because we're able to connect with these political issues that we're never able to connect when a world where technology does not exist. And over time, you see that people with positions of power are able to abuse their power because people with little voices, the victims, are able to speak up. And technology gives us a platform to do so. And so this is why on side opposition, we strongly disagree with the resolution, and technology makes us less lonely. Thank you.
On side government, we strongly agree that technology makes lonely. I will be talking about one extra point and also be refuting against the side opposition. Okay, so I will be talking about cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a form of bullying that's pretty much over the internet, mostly by words. Cyberbullying is very bad as it can cause depression. Some may argue that it's worse because you can actually put thought into it, therefore causing more damage to the person, as emotional well-being may be more important as physical well-being in some thoughts. Okay, so sometimes awareness isn't the best thing, as sometimes the people who have awareness don't do the right thing with it. Like, for example, if somebody looks at somebody who's having struggles, they may not react in the best way, as they might talk negatively and make jokes about it, which definitely does not make the person who is being bullied feel any better than they are in the first place. Adding on to my partner's points, talking online, you may not have as many friends as you do in real life. This is because sometimes talking online relationships don't last as long as in real life physical relationships. As online relationships, you may only be talking to them, but not know enough about them to actually relate to them. As in real life, you would have more experiences with some person themselves rather than somebody on the internet. Like, for example, catfishing. That's a major thing that can make something bad. Okay. It also can take away social skills, which does make you lonely, and also does take away your skills as a human being yourself. Social skills is something that we highly depend on. Therefore, I believe that it shouldn't be taken away, which is why technology makes us worse.
As side opposition, we believe that technology creates a more progressive society towards an open-minded society for us to create more awareness around topics we haven't already talked about. And so what does this do ultimately? It allows us to bring these topics back to our attention, and we're able to connect with other people through this. And this is an essential part of technology and is needed within our society to create a better and more progressive society. And side government has seemed to disagree that it says cyberbullying happens more often when technology is created, that depression is created because of cyberbullying. On side opposition, this is false, because depression is within the youth all the time, and technology has just brought our attention to it. It brings more awareness, and that's the benefits of technology. We're able to say, yes, this exists within our youth, the problem, we have to solve it. But without a world of technology, we're not going to bring this issue back into our minds. We're just going to continue this issue. So technology brings the problem, allows us to identify the problem, to ultimately solve it. And this also relates back to cyberbullying. We're able to stop bullying within our society. And so because of side opposition, we've proven to you that technology allows us to connect with each other, and the benefits definitely outweigh the negatives. This is why technology does not make us more lonely.
So for my conclusion, I'll be refuting the opposition's points and then restating my points and saying why it's better.
So the side opposition position said that technology helps us rally behind a cause and makes people feel less lonely that way. However, rallying behind a cause is not always what we want. For example, many Islamic terrorist groups has spread their awareness and makes terrorists join their group because they use social media to advertise. And also the French riots have happened because people rallied behind the cause of the internet. So although technology does bring people together and help them rally behind a cause, the effects of it is not always positive. So what have we presented on you as government? we have presented to you that technology takes away your attention span. Technology makes you lonelier because cyberbullying happens a lot on the internet, and technology also isolates you because you have no physical interactions.